I like working out and eating clean. I wanted more muscles, so I started eating more, and for the past 6 months I bulked a bit too fast, to be honest, since I always knew I'd start cutting weight in April. So I just capitalized on this and was all like, nah, it's gonna be fine if I eat some fast food, but it wasn't fine. So I thought, what if I just lose the weight like instantly and see if it's effective to keep the muscle? I decided not to eat for 3 days. It was very cool, but maybe not like smart in some sense. My last meal was a bunch of fucking fries, half a kilogram of chicken, and one entire dime cake. And that's a lot of fucking calories, man. I was a bit hungover maybe the next day, and the challenge had begun. For 6 months, my average calorie intake was well above 3,000 per day, and now all of a sudden it dropped to 0. And don't tell my parents, but in the morning I had 2 cigarettes, and I hope those don't have any calories. I require a change of landscape from my usual house here, so I'm going to my mom's to work out and study a bit, because I'm gonna lose my mind here otherwise. And she was so like, no, you can't do this, it's dangerous, you need electrolytes to survive. And she started pulling up like science articles. I received like 20 calls from her during this 3-day period. So it's now been like 1 day since I ate, and to be honest, there's not anything major going on other than me feeling a bit hungry. I can sort of feel like the clarity of mind striking in. Feels a bit weird, but in a good way. I'm a bit hungry, of course. And call me crazy, but I feel like I can see like my abs more pronounced and clearly. Maybe I'm hallucinating from the lack of calories, but that's what it feels like, man. Well, that's day 1. Day 2, still feeling hungry, so I went to my dad to again distract myself to work and study. Went to the golfing simulator with my dad. It's been close to 48 hours since I last ate, and I gotta say, I'm getting fucking hungry here. It's hard to focus on like anything. I have to distract myself to keep myself from eating. Now I'm back home, and so I have to work for the rest of the Sunday. The second day's ended, and it's crazy how productive I was today. Like, I had to constantly distract myself to keep myself busy, to keep my thoughts away from food. I worked for this entire day, and it's Sunday, and you know I'm supposed to have like little energy from not eating and shit, but I actually have more energy and more willpower than I would normally. So that's interesting, but we'll see how tomorrow goes. I slept like shit again, woke up, started working. Day 3 I was super drained. I'm getting pretty hungry, man. I'm supposed to go to the gym today and do my 500 push-ups for another video, but it's not gonna be fucking possible, I tell you that. Decided to drive to my hometown and go for a walk and for groceries. I was very tired this day, and I started feeling even more down, slowly feeling like entering a new dimension, and I just started looking around and analyzing my life from like a bird's eye view. I had been working for almost the whole time for the past 3 days. I opened the window and sat there in the sun and listened to some like calming soundtracks for my favorite video games from when I still played, and my mind was seeing things so clearly, man. It was so weird. It felt like euphoric, but in like a bad sense almost. I realized how exhausted I was physically and mentally, and I started looking back on these 3 days, and they just felt like a summary of my past year, like alone, trying my hardest for so long, yet with nothing to show for it. In the past year, I quit most social media, I quit video games, I quit consuming mindless content. Nowadays, when I'm home alone, I work. I don't waste my time anymore. I quit like every single bad habit I have. I started really trying to only do what is right. I tried my hardest with girls I was in love with. Every time it ended in failure. I've actually given my best, and I don't say that lightly. And I've still failed to attain anything meaningful. I've gained hope a few times, and every time it ended up breaking me. I wanted to give up so many times, but every single time I got back up and kept going. I forced myself. Seems like even if I give my all, I'm destined to fail every time. I've tried so hard. Nobody's ever chosen to believe in me or walk by my side. I haven't affected anyone or truly made myself useful to any loved ones. If I died tomorrow, I know nobody would give a shit. And that's exactly why I'd never kill myself. I refuse to die as some failure. I'll never accept it. I haven't accepted it for over a year, and I don't give a fuck if I have to keep going for the rest of my life without any results to show for it. I'll still keep going. The idea of me staying as the failure I've been until now terrified me to like my very soul, and no matter how exhausted and broken I get, I will get back up. I won't betray anybody who has my trust. Even if they betray me, I don't give a fuck. I refuse to accept anything less than the best possible version of myself. I will make myself good enough. And that's what I realized. Sitting there in the sun, exhausted and empty on the 3rd day, my mind was so clear, like, the idea of failure scared me to such an extent that I finally knew for sure what to do. Even though I was fucking tripping at that time, I haven't forgotten that idea. So I got up from the sun and my head spun like crazy. I felt like fucking dying. Maybe this was the rambling of a dying man or something. I had to lie down for the rest of the day. Like, I felt so weird, but I was exhausted. I fell asleep at some point in the evening, and I woke up at like 2:30 in the night or something, and I literally felt like dying. So I got to my fridge and I ate that fucking sandwich I bought, and it felt so weird. I could feel all the life returning to my to my like taste buds or whatever you have in your mouth, and it was like they had all died and suddenly they were revived, and I felt like the euphoria striking up, and it was a weird experience. But in the morning I had the most disgusting number 2 on the toilet I've ever had. It was weird as fuck. Oh, and here's like the body transformation if you were interested in that also. I lost 3 kilograms. I feel like I lost a bunch of body fat. I had some realizations about myself, and I experienced life without food for 3 days. So all in all, I'd recommend this, but I ate no minerals or anything for the 3 days. I don't think that was very smart because I felt like dying towards the end. But do your research on what minerals and electrolytes you have to consume. Other than that, I felt like this was a pretty cool experience. So remember, strength before weakness, journey before destination.